The Elven Star system is based on the marriage between the 7 Sabian symbols that unfold from your sun position in your horoscope, and align these same 7 with the 7 word system. The 7 word system has the 7 words no, hello, thanks, goodbye, please, sorry, and yes. And these are labels, shall we say, for archetypal principles that are studied in Sufism as the 7 planes of consciousness. The idea behind this cosmology is that in every moment, in every system, in any dynamic situation at all, there are 7 interwoven strands of energy expressing themselves. It's very similar to the idea that the one light can be broken into 7 colors in a prism or by a rainbow. It's an illusion that there are 7, but it's a useful illusion that awakens the number 7 in some mysterious way within us. There was a time in days long ago when numbers were worshipped as though they were gods. And we do know that the numbers have special importance. We feel them differently. We feel the number 7 as the number of mystery and magic and that which cannot be explained. It's the fairy kingdom, the elves, unicorns. These things are all resonant with the number 7. And if we can actually awaken that resonance within ourselves, then we can know what we could not know before. And the approach to awakening that 7ness within us is taken from 2 sides. On the one side, the 7-word system is quite rational, quite logical, very clear-cut, and explains how to cope with life, what you're trying to achieve and how to achieve it, life management skills, with a spiritual sense, a spiritual spin. Whereas the 7 Sabian mysteries, which are pretty much uniquely yours, doesn't want a rational explanation, just wants the feeling of isness, 7ness within us. Now the 7 points of the Elven Star unfold from the Sabian symbol, which is your sun sign. So the first thing to do, clearly, is to understand what that means. And so we're talking about a fairly advanced interest here in the Sabian symbols. Who of us really understands the deeper meaning within our Sabian symbols? You need to really engage with it, you need to study it and feel it and claim it in order to understand it. And by doing that, you're establishing your identity on a different level. You're establishing yourself in the realm of number 7, in the realm of mystery and magic. So, of course you have a physical body, of course you have a name, you have a role in society that everybody would recognize. That is who you are on one level. But that's not the end of the question. There's also something unique about you which could be described best as your atmosphere. It's difficult to describe, difficult to define, but it comes across as how you are, your tone of being. Certain people would enjoy that. They would find it relaxing. Other people would find it irritating or make them restless or whatever. It's not something which can be expressed in the same way to everyone you meet, nor indeed in every situation you encounter. But it is who you are, and it is who you know yourself to be. And that's the essence of self, which we're trying to study. Imagine yourself to be alone with no distractions, just sitting quietly and knowing yourself to be, just to be alive. You'd have a feeling about yourself. You'd have an awareness of being alive. And that's the essence of who you are. And that equates to the first of the Elven Star points. Now, when we go to the rest, the other 6, we're unfolding from that essential atmosphere of being. And we're trying to get a very nuanced, very subtle take on how you are in an expanded realm throughout all of the worlds. We see the physical world and we think that some people think that's the only world there is. It's just not. There are many worlds. And we have a place in them. And we do not necessarily know how to communicate with the other parts of ourselves in the other realms, which the Elven Star course is trying to rectify. So when we're trying to look at how we use the mind in order to identify ourselves, we would need to look for the second point in the Elven Star. We would need to consider what we have to offer at the highest level of communication with another person, or indeed another being. We can communicate with all beings, whether they have physicality or not. And our approach to that communication is indicated by the second Sabian symbol in the Elven Star. The third point of the Elven Star indicates how we feel in the heart the more communicative, more relational aspect of love. Love is such a complex concept. It has many different expressions. The one we're talking about here is the one that is most clearly felt in a loving family, where there's familiarity, there's care and concern and helpfulness, and it's not necessarily always peaceful. It can include all manner of expressions of selfishness as well as selflessness. It's real, it's the family. And although you go up and down with your family feelings, for the most part you'll go home at Christmas and enjoy that sense of being one together as a family. Now, the way in which you present yourself in that environment, within the context of your family, is an aspect of who you are. And it's different from how you are in communications generally. It might not be very communicative. It might be thoroughly based in the realm of feeling. It might be different from how you place yourself in the community as well. It would be a different feeling, wouldn't it, the family feeling? So that's indicated by the third point in the Elven Star. Now, a deeper aspect of the heart is often called courage. It relates to faith. It relates to the matter of what you would stand for. What would actually get you to risk life and limb, because it's that important in your being. And the heroine within you, that sense of standing firm, standing strong, protecting everything that you love, which turns out not to be people or things. It turns out to be a sense of valuing what's important to you, perhaps justice, perhaps truth itself, perhaps authenticity, your expression when push comes to shove. This part of you is an aspect of who you are, and this is indicated by the fourth point in the Elven Star. Now, the fifth point in the Elven Star relates to vision and what we do about enacting our vision in the world. So within each of us is a visionary being. And to tune in to what might be the highest vision that we can grasp in life, we'd need to study the fifth Sabian symbol and really understand it, really get a sense of how that would be if it was optimized fully. How would you be if you put forward your best version of self? your highest claim on the world that you live in. It's not likely to be realized early in life. It takes quite a lot of strength and clarity in order to make a claim which nobody previously has made. This is a unique, creative expression, and it impacts strongly upon other people. It's almost certain that you'd need to align with other people who are similar in their own visions for you to enact your vision. So it has quite a lot to do with building a higher social unit together. So it's a mature leadership kind of role. You might support a leader, or you might be a leader yourself, or whatever, but there's this sense of breaking ground, taking a step in a direction that has not been traveled before. So within us, each of us, we have to find that vibration in order to complete who we are. Further than this, the sixth Sabian symbol is really about our spiritual nature, the part of us that does not want to show anyone, defend any argument, be taught any ideals or ideas or behaviors or morality. Not interested. But beyond all of that is some sense of our knowledge of whatever we want to call God, the highest level of consciousness that we can conceive, and our relationship to that. This is the sixth Sabian mystery. So when you study your Sabian symbol for that, you need to approach it with reverence. You need to approach it not in a thinking way, but in a way that you might approach a spiritual teacher. You just listen. And if you don't understand, you don't necessarily ask a question, you just allow it to percolate and just seep into your being. It's an indirect approach to knowledge. It's a very subtle idea, this one. The alignment with the 7 words is the word sorry. And sorry indicates that we have been insufficiently sensitive to another person. So we say sorry to repair the damage. In this case, what we're trying to establish is whether we're being sufficiently sensitive to God. And when I say God in this context, it's the highest sense we have of God. Imagine that to be a part of yourself, with a consciousness, with an angle on things. Not an agenda, but a facet of consciousness that sees things differently. And there's a part of you which is often called conscience, which is awakened within this question. If you do something that's according to the law of the land and approved of by your friends, but it just doesn't feel good, it doesn't feel right, it offends your conscience, then that's not the thing to do, is it? You have to comply with your conscience to feel good about life. So we could simply say that the sixth Sabian mystery is that which is the most subtle and profound spiritual understanding of what your conscience is telling you. When all's said and done, if you are approaching your death now, would you be okay with where you have arrived in your life and what you've done with your life? Are you clear of conscience that you've used life fully and productively? That's probably the sixth mystery. Now the seventh mystery is, in a sense, beyond the beyond. It's hard to know how we would ever really grasp this one. It's beyond the beyond. But we can get a flavor of it, even if we don't understand it fully. We can be led, perhaps, in that direction by coincidences and metaphors that arise in our life, consistent with our Sabian symbol for that seventh point. It's mysterious, let's just say that the seventh point of the Sabian mysteries is how we sink into the mystery, how we allow ourselves such familiarity with the nature of cosmic realities that we can just trust and have faith that everything is fine. And all we need to do is just flow along with things, trying not to go against the flow of what arises. Now, to be able to blend that with the other 6 mysteries is awesomely difficult. And it's not something that we should expect to achieve or finalize, at least. However, the movement towards it has great benefit. This is true of all 7 of the symbols. Just because we're studying them is good. Knowledge can be conceived as having consciousness. Knowledge is conscious of itself. In a way, it's alive on some plane of existence. And as we move towards knowledge, knowledge moves towards us. So even if we don't get the answer to the questions that we're asking them is very valuable indeed. Now, the question we're asking in this exercise is, what do all of these 7 things mean, the Sabian symbols, individually? How can I understand them better using the 7-word system? And what indeed do those 7 words mean individually? Now, if I approach the Sabian symbols with the 7 words, I get a deeper understanding of both. That's an important, very important first stage, but there's a second stage, and that is to somehow try and piece them all together into an integrated whole. An image I've given before is of a chord in music. If you hear all of the notes individually, they sound nice enough. If you hear the chord together, it could be awesome. Same with a rainbow. All of the colours, very nice. See the rainbow all at the same time. It awakens something within us, that sense of right relationship with the world, right relationship with God, and a deep sense of knowledge of self.